And ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to the Iowa Speedway, where today we're going to be figuring out the top 6 drivers from the part-timers group that will be moving on into tonight's show. And we'll be progressing on into our main event here for tonight's 9th race of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series, the American Ethanol 400, which will take place tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over on Twitch. But for today, it is going to be very history-making, if I may say, for the WRLA. This is the first trip ever here to the Iowa Speedway here for WRLA Pepsi Cup Series competition. But not only that, it is the first time that we've broadcasted a race here at the Iowa Speedway. First time since the McDonald's Cup Series Season 1 back in June of 2015. That was the 3rd race of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series schedule, and need I say, it was very much so a wreck fest until it came down to about a dozen cars left on the racetrack that saw not only Daniel Voiles but also Kevin Gandara fight it out for the win, and it saw Kevin Gandara go on to victory lane in that race. That was just some 10 years ago, man. That is amazing of how fast time flies. And here we are 10 years later. WRLA Pepsi Cup Series racing comes here to the Iowa Speedway for the first time, and it definitely is going to be a spectacle to watch here, as these drivers are going to be riding around here for 125 laps here at the Iowa Speedway for the American Ethanol 400. So far, focusing in on the qualifying sessions, the starting time here for Ryan Gundillo is at 22:126. Everybody kind of getting into that 22-second bracket as of right now. So far, there really hasn't been a whole lot of improvement here for times. I mean, barely anybody breaking into the 21-second bracket. Still very early here in this session, as a lot of these drivers are going to be putting down lap times for pretty much obviously every lap, but the running order is going to change pretty much every lap here. For example, Gundillo bettered his time, a 22.024. Same for Michael DeFeo, a 22.073 for the number 60 machine. Here's Bobby McGuire, 5th quickest, with a 22.123, tied with Martin Nixon, but now Nicky Fox and Chase McClure get better times, and both Nixon and McGuire get kicked out of the top 6 threshold that would put them into the show here for tonight. Nixon back up, and Bobby McGuire goes up to the top with a 21.970. Gundillo back up to the top, 7/1000ths of a second faster. Then in 3rd, that would be Josiah Munsell with a 21.991, 5/1000ths of a second back from him. That would be Michael DeFeo, 1/1000th of a second back. That was, I would say that was I don't even know who that was anymore, because the running order changed so drastically. It all happened so fast. Ajax Fitzgerald to 4th on the standings, now to 2nd with a 21.952, tying Ryan Gundillo. And now Josiah Munsell to the top with a 21.935. All these drivers already putting down these crazy lap times, and it's happening at such a quick rate, so pretty much almost every single lap. So Ajax Fitzgerald holds on to 2nd with a 21.946, and it's Gundillo holding on with a 952 in 3rd, a 969 for Chase McClure, who sits 4th, then 1/1000th of a second back. That would be Bobby McGuire, who now gets moved down On to the bubble spot. Joshua Cornish breaks into the top 6 with a 21.945. Just 1/1000th of a second faster than Ajax Fitzgerald. No improvement at the start-finish line here for Cornish, but if he can hold on here for the next 9.5 minutes, he would make the show. Rayatiki, wait a minute, Janiyah Hill to the top with a 21.927. Munsell best hit her by 2/1000ths of a second, but Janiyah Hill coming out of nowhere to put herself in the top 6. How about that? And I do believe, hold up just 1 second. I do believe, yes, that is 100% the case here in real life. The groceries are here. Rayatikian's going to take it down to pit road. He was inside of the top 6 threshold there for just a little bit, but now he gets bumped out here. Just on the outside looking in by 13/1000ths of a second. Now he gets bumped out of that spot by Chase McClure. But your top 6 currently looks like this as of right now. Janiyah Hill at the top of the charts with a 21.915. Then in second, that would be Josiah Munsell with a 925. Martin Nixon third. Joshua Cornish in fourth. Ajax Fitzgerald in 5th, and Ryan Gundillo holds on to the final transfer spot just by 2/1000ths of a second over Chase McClure here in this number 52. Coming off of turn number 4, back down into the first corner after crossing the start-finish line. So far, no improvements here for Chase McClure. I think it's gotten to the stage of the qualifying sessions where the times are pretty much slowed down at this point. And ladies and gentlemen, I will be right back real quick, but I do promise we are going to continue on with qualifying, but I'll be right back, guys. I got to go help with groceries.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite. you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in a hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite. If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in a hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite. If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in a hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite. If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in a hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I am so sorry for that long wait. But focusing back in on our qualifying sessions, again, to review, with 7 minutes remaining here in this session, Janiah Hill remains at the top of the charts with a 21.915. Then it is Josiah Munsell with a 9.25, 9.33 from Michael DeFeo, and 9.34 For Martin Nixon, Nicky Fox with a 940, and Joshua Cornish currently on the bubble spot. Now that has changed as Chase McClure breaks in to the second position with a 922 for Chase McClure. How about that? With 6 minutes now to go. If you're somebody like Joshua Cornish who just got bumped out of the top 6, or even Ajax Fitzgerald, those drivers that are currently on the outside looking in, you're definitely going to be wanting to reanalyze just exactly what you might be doing wrong, and definitely you might want to obviously capitalize on it. But speaking of, as soon as I say that, Bobby McGuire just did that. It's almost like he was listening. He just jumped up to the top of the charts with our first 21.8 of the day. It is a 21.870 for Bobby McGuire. Dethrones his girlfriend at the top of the speed charts. But both McGuire Motorsports cars are currently 1-2 as of right now. See, we've had one car, we've had the other car, but yet I don't believe in my mind that we've had both McGuire Enterprise cars in the same race at the same time. And so far, both of them are in the best possible position in order for that dream to come true, as McGuire makes a little bit of contact with Chase McClure, but definitely not enough to give the 52 any sort of race damage. I think yeah, McClure up into the wall right there, but that should be repairable. Rayatikian also gets inside of the top 6 with a 21.933, currently tied with Michael DeFeo. Just a few millionths of a second better, as now DeFeo's on the outside looking in, and 1/1000th of a second ahead of Martin Nixon as of right now. There's last week's winner, Travis Crampton, who got his first WRLA Pepsi Cup Series win at Talladega since being a part of the series in 2020. Didn't have the best of years in 2020. Unfortunately, he made only the Daytona 500 that year and just had struggled ever since to make it into every single race. But nonetheless, he went full time in 2023. I'd say he had a pretty okay year, but now has scaled back to part-time and went on to win at Talladega, but now possibly in the works of maybe going full-time again next year in 2026. So we're just going to have to keep our eyes peeled open for that. But as of right now here for this race, a 22.015, not looking too good here for Travis Crampton. He hasn't even broken into that 21 second bracket as of right now, but with 3 minutes to go, he still has a good amount of time to break in to the 21 second bracket, maybe break into the top 10. But as for Travis Crampton, he has not had himself the best of days here in this qualifying session, as you can see. And if he's not able to pick it up, he will have to sit this one out and get ready for the next racetrack, which I do have the schedule here in my notes, and that next race would be over at North Wilkesboro next week. So it's going to be very interesting as to how this will shake up. I mean, for Travis Crampton, because remember, he did win last week's race, and it is pretty interesting, and I think it might start to become a common theme, if you will, where the previous week's winner doesn't make the following race. It happened to Martin Nixon earlier this year, the Daytona 500, when he won that race and hadn't made a single event up until Fontana back in March. But for Travis Crampton, he won last week and probably might not make it here for this race if he's not able to pick the speed up, but it would be a tough break here for Travis Crampton nonetheless if he is not able to pick up the pace and better his time in order to break into that top 6 threshold, which is still being held by Michael DeFeo, who is just barely hanging on by the skin of his teeth over Martin Nixon, whom again is 1/1000th of a second behind him. And there is indeed 1 minute remaining here in this knockout qualifying session here for the part-time group. But nobody, since they've been able to put down their fast times, nobody's been able to dethrone both of the McGuire Enterprise stable drivers of Bobby McGuire himself and his girlfriend Janiah Hill. Both drivers have been at the top of the charts for the last several minutes of the session, and as we come down to a close here for Go or Go Home or qualifying, there will be some added times. That way some drivers will have an opportunity to lay down one more good lap time. 20 seconds have been added on the clock. That might not be enough time, and I do not believe that is going to be the case. So, wait a minute, Josiah Munsell at the Jordan Sumner breaks in at the last second with a 21.931. That knocks Michael DeFeo out, and your top 6 will go as follows. Both of the McGuire Enterprise cars will race tonight. McGuire and Hill are in. Chase McClure, Josiah Munsell, Jordan Sumner will make her first start since Rockingham, and Ray Atikian, whom I believe will be making his first start since Martinsville, I want to say. He barely hangs on by the skin of his teeth. Michael DeFeo, man, that's a shame. He just gets knocked out at the very last possible second. But he will have to miss out on this show along with Martin Nixon, Nikki Fox, Joshua Cornish, Ajax Fitzgerald, Ryan Gondillo, Kyler Sustry, and as well as Travis Crampton. Tough break for him since he did come off of a win last week. He will have to sit this one out along with DeFeo and the rest of the other drivers from 7th on down and get ready for North Wilkesboro next week. But as for today, congratulations to Bobby McGuire, Janiah Hill, Chase McClure, Josiah Munsell, Jordan Sumner, and Ray Atikian. They will race in tonight's American Ethanol 400 here in Iowa. When we come back, we're going to have ourselves our 2-round qualifying session. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. And we are back here at the Iowa Speedway for knockout qualifying from here. at the Iowa Speedway. Round 1 getting set to get underway here very, very shortly. Just want to make sure that the sounds are on and we are in business. 10 minutes, 2 rounds. All 42 cars will be on the racetrack at the same time. And then the fastest 12. They'll fight it out for the pole. I do apologize there for the mic just randomly cutting out. Just also want to do this real quick, just so I can see the mic levels. But Roberto Crown Jr. on the clock here as we get ready for 10 minutes. Again, all 42 cars will be on the racetrack at the same time here for round number 1. And then the fastest 12 cars will go to the final round and they will fight it out for the pole position here for tonight's race. But Roberto Crown Jr. to start things off across the stripe. It is a 22.438, but that is going to change here as this session does progress. Emily Anderson with a 22.425. And there is our former points leader that just clocked in at a 34.140. That was a Zachary Fitzwater, who lost the points lead last week at Talladega. And that was awarded over to Kyle Craven because those 20 bonus points that a full-time driver would normally get for winning a race, those points transferred over to Kyle Craven since Travis Crampton won at Talladega last week. And those bonus points for winning don't go to the part-timer. They go to the driver that, well, obviously they go to the highest finishing full-time driver. That case was Kyle Craven, and he happened to be in that right place at the right time, finishing second to inherit the points lead over Zachary Fitzwater by a pretty small margin. But Fitzy looking to try to continue his consistency and try to take the points lead back, but he does scrape the outside wall there just a little bit. He did hold on to the top of the charts there for a little bit, but he got dethroned there by Andrew Miller and then Emily Anderson following that. Andrew Miller to the top with a 21.978. He goes to the top of the charts, and currently only 2 drivers that have broken into that 21-second bracket here in round number 1. That obviously is Andrew Miller and Emily Anderson. Josiah Munsell third with a was 22.24, but now Rogel Dorn breaks up to the top. Alex Bonsinger to the top of the charts with a 21.917. Campbell Marsh to the top, a 9.10 for him. Reagan Whitlock to second with a 21.913. Emily Anderson back to the top with a 21.875. I'm telling you, these times, they change pretty much every single lap, what seems like, or at least every few seconds. Because these drivers, they know what's at stake. They obviously know what's at stake. Wyatt Walker to second with an 885. See if we can find Wyatt. There he is. Right there with Braden Perez, who was in third there, but got absolutely bumped out by Ryan Little. And Abby Walker to the top with a 21.858. That's the fastest time we've seen all day today. Wyatt Walker to the top with an 846. How about that? CG Holt to fourth with an 874. 3 out of the 4 Walker Family Motorsport. Actually, all 4 of them. All 4 of them are inside of the top 5 here. Closing in on 5 minutes remaining here in round number 1. McGuire to the top with an 842. A 21.842. A 21.829 for Terry Walker. everybody's fighting it out here for this top position. So again, all 4 of the Walker family motorsports cars inside of the top 10. Terry in second, then third, then fourth through 6th for Wyatt, Abby, and CG Holt. And the funny thing is, all 4 cars do go down the running order in numerical order. But Reagan Whitlock top of the charts with an 827. She's got a pretty fast hot rod here for this session. And there she is right there. Reagan Whitlock, if I remember correctly, did compete in season 1 of the WRLA McDonald's Cup Series all the way back in 2015 right here at the Iowa Speedway. Back when that was as chaotic as can be. And she might have been involved in one of those wrecks, unfortunately. But as you can see as well, Chase McClure top of the charts with an 821. Sebastian Vaughn to 4th with an 834. So right now, your top 12 looks as follows here with 3.5 minutes to go. It is Chase McClure at the top of the board with a 21.821. Reagan Whitlock would move on along with Terry Walker, Sebastian Vaughn, Bobby McGuire, Eric Monaco, Wyatt Walker, Abby Walker, Ryan Little, CG Holt, Wayne Lopez, and Emily Anderson. Those would be the 12 drivers that would move on into the final round here, which will commence in 3 minutes time. Oh man, Reagan Whitlock just absolutely pounded the outside wall coming off of turn number 4. And that's because there is a good lack of grip right up there on that high line. So that is going to change because we're going to be racing under the lights. Track temps will be down, so the grip levels will be up. And speeds will be up as well. McGuire to the top of the charts with a 21.813. Holy cow. Pretty much every single one of these drivers are laying it all out there like it's nobody's business. A 21.813 for McGuire nonetheless. He goes to the top of the board. 8 1/1000ths of a second better than Chase McClure. But my goodness gracious. Rowe gets into the outside wall there coming off of turn number 4. And that will open up the door for Ryan Little to drive to the inside. $90 remaining here in round number 1 qualifying for here at the Iowa Speedway. At this rate, I do believe the times have all these drivers have pretty much used up all that they've been able to in order to put down some really wicked fast lap times here at Iowa. So I'm pretty sure these drivers are just logging laps at this point and just buying their time and trying to see how long they can go on the set of tires that they are on. $45 seconds remaining. And it does not look like, I don't believe it really looks like anybody else is going to be dethroning anybody inside of the top 10, unless if you're Wayne Lopez and Emily Anderson, who just got knocked out of the top 12 by Tanner Parton and Andrew Ramsey. An 869 for Parton and an 873 for Andrew Ramsey. There's Ramsey, who, if I remember correctly, I do believe he wound up leading the most laps at Talladega last week. Unfortunately, didn't close out the deal with a win, but could very well do it here tonight. But both drivers, Parton and Ramsey, just barely clocking in times better than both Anderson and Lopez. 5/1000ths of a second faster. 5 and 6/1000ths of a second faster for Tanner Parton. 1 and 2/1000ths of a second for Andrew Ramsey. That's just the deficit between them and Lopez and Anderson. But that isn't going to matter too much now, because we now know the top 12 that will be going for the pole here at the Iowa Speedway. That would be Bobby McGuire, Chase McClure, Reagan Whitlock, Terry Walker, Sebastian Vaughn, Ryan Little, Eric Monaco, Wyatt Walker, C.G. Halt, Abby Walker, Tanner Parton, and Andrew Ramsey. Those drivers will be fighting it out for the pole from 13th all the way down to 42nd. This is where they'll be starting for tonight's race here at Iowa. And ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to get ready for final round qualifying from here at the Iowa Speedway. Who is going to win the pole for the American Ethanol 400? Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back here in just a few minutes from the Iowa Speedway.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free, because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale, because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
Cloud cover has rolled in here at the Iowa Speedway as we are getting ready for final round qualifying. We now know the 12 drivers that will be going for the pole. But now the question is, what are the speeds going to look like? And who's the first driver that is going to hit the racetrack here for this final round? First taker is actually going to be Abby Walker here in this number 18. Trying to go for her first career pole here in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. Walker on the clock. Other drivers are going to be making their way out on the racetrack. That would be Chase McClure in the 52. If Sebastian Vaughn has now made his way out, he'll be going on the clock here right about now. And the starting time here for Abby Walker is going to be a 22:225. A little bit faster than what we've seen. Obviously about 6/10 of a second faster than what we've seen, you know, under the sunlight. But that all is going to change. A 21:956 here for Abby Walker. Now Eric Monaco jumps up to second with a 22:188. It's going to be a 21-second lap time here pretty soon, as Sebastian Vaughn goes to the top with a 21:948. A 21:859 here for Abby Walker here in this number 18 machine. Pretty much everybody's getting into that 21-second bracket faster than what they did under the sunlight. Basically without cloud cover. 21:727. Just quickly dethroning the 54 of Vaughn before he could even have a chance at being at the top of the charts. But Vaughn does break into second with a 728. That's 1/1000th of a second short of the pole. Not anymore. It is now 14 1/1000ths of a second off from the pole position. Abby Walker with a 714. Now Vaughn to the top with a 678. Now these are the fastest times that we've seen all day. This is just with the cloud cover, however. With 6.5 minutes remaining, Abby Walker back to the top with a 21:652. Vaughn and Walker have both been trading. They've both been trading that top position, just like you would with any sort of Pokemon card collection if you wanted to trade those. But it has been absolutely competitive there for that top position between the 18 and the 54 teams. Eric Monaco up to third with a 688 to his name. CG Holt in fourth. Now actually CG Holt breaks into second with a 21:663. Terry Walker with a 669. What in the world? The Walker family motorsports cars are not coming to play around. They are here to win, and they are here to be competitive. They have occupied the top 3 positions, closing in on 5 minutes to go here in this session. The only driver that is currently struggling right now to at least match that speed is Wyatt in the 19. He was 10th for a split second, but just got bumped out of the top 10 by first Bobby McGuire, then Reagan Whitlock, but now McGuire breaks back into the top 10. Eric Monaco to third with a 669, but just a few millionths of a second better than Terry Walker. Across the stripe, McGuire breaks back into the top 10, now 9th with a 711. A few millionths of a second better than Chase McClure. Reagan Whitlock to 5th with a 21.674. A 7:09 there for McGuire. Now he improves his time by 2/1000ths of a second. 4 minutes to go in this session. CG Hall, wait a minute. He went to the top with a 21.600. Clocking in at a 21.600 for CG Halt, a 6:27 for the 18 of Abby Walker. Reagan Whitlock to 3rd with a 21.644. How about that? So right now, your top 10 would go as follows here, closing in on that 3-minute remaining mark here for qualifying here at the Iowa Speedway. It would be CG Halt who would win the pole if he's able to hang on. Abby Walker would be 2nd, Reagan Whitlock 3rd. Then in 4th would be Eric Monaco. 5th is Terry Walker, a few millionths of a second off from beating out the 31 of Monaco. Then Andrew Ramsey 6th, Sebastian Vaughn 7th. Well, not anymore. Tanner Parton goes to 6th with a 674. Andrew Ramsey 7th, Sebastian Vaughn 8th, Ryan Little 9th, and Bobby McGuire would complete the top 10 with his 709. 2.5 minutes to go here in this session. Coming around, Abby Walker and also CG Halt pretty much trading the spots on the racetrack as Halt scrapes the outside wall. McGuire to 9th with a 21.680. Moving up ahead of the 27 of Ryan Little with less than 2 minutes to go in this session. Sebastian Vaughn to 6th with a 21.671, getting ahead of Tanner Parton and Andrew Ramsey. Tonight's race, I would definitely say, is going to be pretty interesting, to say the least. Given the fact that, it would be WRLA's first time going to Iowa Speedway. And we're doing this for 125 laps. And, Iowa, I mean, it can be a very fun racetrack, but also on the same flip side, on the same coin, this race could get very chaotic. So a lot of it could do with pit strategy. But more importantly, it could also do with what type of racing that we're going to see here on track tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time over on Twitch. So I can't wait. 125 laps. It's going to prove to be some absolute mayhem here at Iowa. Ryan Little to 3rd with a 21.638. Moves up to that podium starting spot, knocking out Reagan Whitlock with a 21.644. But I do not believe there's going to be any more changes here inside of this top 10, and I definitely don't think there's going to be any sort of changes to the front row. 20 seconds have been added, so that way these drivers can put down one more lap, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. So your front row for tonight's American Ethanol 400 will be CG Halt and Abby Walker, a front row sweep for Walker Family Motorsports. Row 2 will see Ryan Little and Reagan Whitlock. Row 3, Sebastian Vaughn and Chase McClure. Flip-flop that order, by the way. Then in row 4, it is Eric Monaco and Terry Walker. And in row 5 will be Tanner Parton and Andrew Ramsey. Row 6 Bobby McGuire, and Wyatt Walker. Those would be your top 12 drivers that will be leading the rest of the field to the green flag. Huge congratulations to CG Halt and Abby Walker for sweeping the front row for Walker Family Motorsports. This team 100% with all 4 of their cars that made it to the final round. They did not come to play around. They came to win. So we'll just have to wait and see if a Walker Family Motorsports car is going to go to victory lane here tonight. But that's going to do it for qualifying here at the Iowa Speedway. We'll be back tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over on Twitch for the running of the American Ethanol 400 here at the Iowa Speedway, the 9th race of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. If you guys liked this, be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, be sure to hit the sub button in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. And that pretty much is going to do it for us. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take care. And we'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time here in Iowa. Have a good night, yo.